Hello everyone. Welcome to GIS Day celebrations at Scope Society in association with Geosys Enterprise Solutions Private Limited. Today, we are going to present you a tech talk on applications of GIS in environment. We are presenting this tech talk in association with both Scope Society and Geosys Enterprise Solutions Private Limited, which is an ISO 9001 and 2015 certified organization, and we are also an ISRI partner company. And I'm Janki Gattu, and I work as a GIS specialist with Geosys Enterprise Solutions Private Limited, and I'm here today to present you this tech talk. And the main agenda of today's tech talk is we'll be seeing how GIS plays a vital role in environment and what kind of applications are being used in this corporate world in the environmental sector. So first thing is the tech talk description is we are seeing like lot of issues with respect to climate change, with respect to global warming, with respect to human activities, which are the main reasons for environmental degradation and decrease in the glacier areas, or an increase in the glacial lake size, or change in the temperature, changes in the weather, or changes in the pattern of the land in which we are living. So lot of changes we are seeing with respect to time, and all these kind of environmental changes can be assessed, can be monitored using GIS. So these issues, all this global warming issues, whatever I told you a while back, needs better monitoring and supervision. So GIS is going to play a vital role in monitoring the environment and to make better decisions out of the maps that we are going to create. So in today's tech talk, we are going to learn about the environmental planning and why is it important. And we are going to see 3 demonstrations on how GIS is being used in environment. One is in wildlife management, second one is in production of operations, and the third one is agricultural best management practices. So before we go ahead, let's start with what is GIS Day and why we are celebrating this. GIS Day is basically an event which is conducted annually, and this event is basically conducted to share information, to share your knowledge which you have accumulated over a period of time on GIS. So this was initially started by ISRI President Jack Dangermond and its co-founder Ralph Nader. Okay, and today many international organizations and various firms, communities are coming up together to share their user stories, to share their experiences, to enable you how GIS can be used in day-to-day life and to demonstrate the real-time applications. So what these GIS professionals are going to do on a GIS day and how you can celebrate this GIS day. Basically, any GIS professional on a GIS day does various activities. Either they participate in a GIS day event like this, or they present some papers in any kind of GIS day events, or you can share your knowledge with your colleague. You can prepare insights out of the data that you have. You can derive insights out of the data. You can organize various quizzes. You can tell stories. You can help someone learn GIS. So there are various activities which you can do on a GIS day as a GIS professional, which will help someone to learn about your experiences, and you can also learn from their experiences. And here we have listed a few of the tasks that which we can do on a GIS day as a GIS professional. And let's come back to our tech talk. Applications of GIS in environment. So here, the first part we are going to talk about is environmental planning and analysis in environmental applications. So what is this environmental planning and why do we need that? And what happens if you are not planning with GIS with respect to environment? So first thing is, environment is a very huge term where there are plenty of natural resources. And it is our responsibility as a citizen to protect the environment. So the better you protect the environment, the more opportunities we'll be having as an individual or as an organization or as a city or as a country. So as we have seen, there are like a lot of applications which we can be using in environment with the help of GIS, and we will be taking better decisions. First thing is, the main purpose of environmental planning is we need to know what are the environmental challenges or ecological challenges that we have in current day. And we need to preserve our environment. We need to protect our environment, our natural resources, and we need to restore them back towards initial stages. Right? As the population and habitants are being grown every single day, environmental organizations are using GIS as an opportunity to ensure sustainability development within organizations, within cities, and within states. So GIS is playing a very vital role in overcoming all the environmental related problems. And it is helping not only in planning how our cities, our states, or how our community should be, but it is also helping us to protect our environment, to make better decisions, to make our country or to make our city sustainable. Environmental analysis. Environmental analysis is basically we are going to see what is the kind of impact that we have on environment based on industry or based on a construction of a building or based on some activity that we are doing in a day-to-day life. And we have to mitigate that impact which is there on the environment by taking various precautions right from the planning stage so that we can ensure that our environment is more sustainable. And there are like many tools which we can use in GIS and which will help the stakeholders in any organization to make better decisions out of the maps which we create. If you see here, there are various applications which we have listed out here where GIS is being used on the environment. One is on the environmental impact assessment. If you do mining in a particular area, what kind of impact it would have on the environment with respect to air, noise, water, soil. So there are various kinds of measures that has to be taken into consideration. So do you do after you construct that, after you start your mining activity? No. Your GIS activity will start right from the very beginning when you think you want to do mining activity at a particular place, right from getting the clearances from the government and before you start the mining activity. So in order to get your environmental clearances, you need GIS as one of the prime tools to check the feasibility of your sites, to assess the sites, and to say that this particular area is feasible to go ahead with mining activity. And the second one is you go ahead to the government organizations and you get the clearance for them. And the third one is once you start doing the mining activity, you assess the impacts on the environment because of mining on air, land, water, noise, and like on the species, right? So you do the impact analysis, and once you do the impact analysis, you measure how much of impact is there in each of these areas. Once you measure the impact, you need to know how you have to mitigate. So in all these different phases, you're going to see how you're going to plan to do an activity, how you are going to measure an impact on the environment because of an activity, and how you're going to protect or how you're going to plan and protect your environment. So all this kind of activities you will be doing in environmental impact analysis using GIS. The second application is disaster management. So you'll have floods, you'll have droughts, right? So if you have a flood in a given area, so how much of area was disturbed during the floods, and what is the kind of human loss you have, financial loss you have, right? And how much of area has to be replanned or rezoned, right? And what are the future plans that you have in order to avoid these kind of floods? So all these kind of analysis and mitigation measures you will take in disaster management, and you assess the risk and you try to mitigate the risk. Similarly for landslides hazards as well. And similarly in determining the land use, land cover changes. So as I told you as an example of mining, so what is the land, how it was distributed before doing a mining activity at a particular place, and after doing a mining activity in that area, what is the kind of land that we have, what kind of changes has occurred with respect to land, what areas has been increased, what areas has been decreased. So all these kind of analysis, environmental analysis, we'll be using one of our prime tools, GIS. And you can estimate the flood damages, you can manage your natural resources, and you can do soil mapping, you can estimate like what is the kind of nutrients that are available in your soil, what is the kind of what is the kind of water quality that is present in your land, and what kind of soil do you have, what kind of minerals that are present. So all this belongs to environment. So you use GIS as a prime tool in order to map, analyze, and measure all this changes that happen with respect to environment. So we will see a demonstration, the first demonstration on how GIS can be used in a wildlife management, right? So for this, I want to showcase you some solutions which we have. So in today's demonstration, we are going to see three demonstrations. One is about wildlife management, the second one is about protection operations, and the third one is about agricultural best management practices. So wildlife management. So what is this wildlife management and why do we use it? Wildlife management, in order to map the animals that are present within a wildlife sanctuary, we'll be using GIS as one of the major tools. And once you map all the animals, you also need to capture the wildlife observations. So for which again you will be using GIS as your prime tool uh, for mapping the operations, wildlife operations using GIS. And we will capture the wildlife observations. We will see like how we can monitor the wildlife population, and we will also see the trends, how it is there in the wildlife. Okay, so now we will see how we can create this application in the wildlife management. So for this, I'm going to use my ArcGIS online account and I'm going to create and show you how we can use this wildlife management as with GIS, how we are going to do it. Okay. First thing is what we are going to do here is we need to, as I told you, for wildlife management, you're going to map the wildlife observations. You're going to monitor the wildlife. And the third one is you're going to analyze the trends in the protected areas. Okay. So now we are going to see that one. So I am going to use ArcGIS Survey 123 in order to create a survey form. Okay. And that survey form is used to record the observations, wildlife observations by any citizen or by any field representative who is monitoring those animals in the field. They can record the wildlife observations. For that, we are going to create a survey. Okay, so for this I'm going to use ArcGIS Survey 123 and I'm going to create a new survey. And you can use a template survey which is already created, and some templates are already there. You can use it if you want, or you can create it right from the scratch. Okay, so if you see here, we can take a template and we can configure it, or we can select and we will do it. So let's start with the blank document. Okay, so here I'm going to give the header wildlife observation reporter. So whoever is on the reporters who are there on the field will be reporting the wildlife observations. Okay, so what is that we are going to record here? We're going to record wildlife observation information. Okay, and now we can add the details like what we require in a form, what the wildlife reporter has to report. So all the details which I need. I wanted to know what kind of animals are there in that particular forest. So I will take like the type of animal, and I also wanted to know the observation type, like what kind of observation, like is it through the audio, I mean through the sounds, the observer is reporting this, or he has visually seen this, or he has tracked an animal. So I will give all the specific information that I want from an observer. So I'm going to create this. So animal, and I have list of choices because I have taken a drop down here. So I want to give animal names here. Is it a lion or is it a tiger? So you can give all this list, whatever the choices you have. Now I have this animal information. Now again, I want to give one other information. So I can make a copy of it. I can duplicate and I can change, or you can add it again from here. So this time I am going to record the observation type of the wildlife reporter. Okay. So we are going to make the options, whether he has seen, whether he has heard some noises and based on that he is reporting it, or whether he has seen something and whether he is reporting it, or whether he has some markings on the ground based on that he is reporting it, or whether he has a, whether he's tracking an animal and he's reporting it. So all these kind of observations we are going to take. So if you want to make a question mandatory, you can make it mandatory so that a star will appear even for the observation type also. I want to make this as a mandatory question. Okay, and I need to know on which date this particular observer is reporting these issues. So I can take a date. So you can give the submitting date. So the date on which the user is submitting or the reporter is submitting, that date would be taken into consideration. So I want day, month, and year. So it is going to take this information, but this need not be a mandatory one. You can just quickly select that one. And I also need to know in which location did this observer or the reporter has seen that animal. I need to know the location as well, right? So location, and you can select your base map. So either topographic or imagery, any base map you like, you can select and you can keep it. And 1 second. I'm zooming into the forest area here. I'm going to give the coordinates here and I'm going to type it here. Just give me a second. Okay, I'll set the location here. Okay, and if you want that location to be mandatory, you can give it, or else you can just leave it. And if the observer want to leave a notes, you can leave a notes here. So he can write about that particular observation here, and he can click on submit. Okay, click on save. So you can give the name, wildlife observation reporter form. So I have saved this, and if you want to preview, you can preview this. Okay, this is how our form is, a very simple form. So a person, a reporter who is there in the wildlife observation, so he is going to report the activities of the animals that he is observing at that particular location. So he's going to select the type of the animal. So I've just given 4 here, and he's going to give us his observation through which mode he has observed it, and he's going to select the date, or it gets automatically selected based on the date of submission, and he's going to locate the place here, and he's going to write his observation, and he's going to submit. So you can see it on a desktop or on a mobile phone or on your uh, tablets. Okay, so this is our preview mode. I stopped it. So if you want this to be used by all your people, you just need to publish it, and you need to share this information. So I'm clicking on publish. So this is showing me the schema and everything. So here, if you want to modify anything, you can modify. If you don't want to modify anything, just leave it as it is and just click on publish. It will take a couple of minutes. So we just need to wait. The survey has been published. Now you can access the survey link here and distribute it to end users for data collection. So if I want this to be given to the reporters, I just need to give them a link, and that link can be used by the reporters, and they can fill out the form as and when they find an observation on the wildlife in that particular forest area. So if you want to change the colors or the background and all, you can go to appearances and you can change the background the way you want. Okay, so you can see and you can change it depending on your requirements. Okay, so as of now I'm just leaving as it is, and I'm just clicking on save, and you can change your background colors, text colors, and everything. You have all your options here. You can change this. So if you want the web page or like just white, you can leave it as it is. If you wanted a random color, you can select. Okay, so I'm just saving it, and if you want to reflect those changes, you need to publish it back. So I am able to see all those changes here in my form. Now I need to see here collaboration. If I want to have this link to be shared, if I want this particular form to be shared to the users, I can just copy it and I can give it to the users. So where they can directly open this particular form, the survey form in the browser, and they can uh, report the observations. So who can submit the survey? Is it only authenticated people from your organization can submit, or anyone, or only a restricted group? Because as this is a wildlife observation, I can give it to everyone. So, and you just want the submitters only to add new records or add and update the records, add, update and delete records. I just want only an updation, so I can give only that. So I can give a person multiple submissions, so I can give him and click on save. So if you copy this form or the QR code, and if you type it here, that particular link is here, and you can use this link to submit your observations. So let's come to the next step, which is analysis. As of now, you don't have any record. So as of now, we cannot do any kind of analysis unless and until we have the data. So here also we don't have any records. As of now, it is showing 0. And this is basically to hook it to other applications and all, we can use that. For now, let's leave it as it is. Okay. Now, I am going to my ArcGIS online account. I'm going to the content, and I'm going to see whether this has been created or not. Wildlife observation report. Can you see here? This is the wildlife observation report. I can open it in Survey 123 browser directly. And I'm going to record the first animal. I'm going to, I have seen a tiger, and I have seen it visually. So I'm going to submit on so and so date. So you can give your location. So if you see here, this is a thick forest, Nagara Hole Tiger Reserve. So I have seen one of the tigers in this reserve. So this is my observation. So I have given that particular location, and I'm going to give some description about that. So I'm just clicking on submit. So we have done our first submission, right? So let's go back to our survey 1 to 3 and we'll see now if we can do any kind of analysis. Earlier we were not able to see this information because we don't have any set of records. Now we have one record, so which is a tiger. So it is showing us just one big circle here. And if you want to see the data, just click on the data and you can see your form here. Okay, so this is basically in India. We have selected this particular forest, Nagarhole Tiger Reserve Forest, and near to this Kannur in Kerala. So we are, this particular forest is there. So here I have found that observation and I have recorded it here. Okay, in the similar way, you can also submit your observations. I'm going to share you the link and you can submit your observations. So all of you, you can use this form and you submit your observations and we can see the recordings here. So can you all submit from your end? In the meantime, I will also record one other observation. I'll use the same form and I'll record one other observation. I want everyone to submit your observations so that you can see like how we can analyze the data and how we can see the records here popping up and how it can be used. I'm recording one other another observation. So if you have submitted, we'll be able to see all our observations here. Okay. So two other people have submitted their observations and we can see it here. Okay. So these are the observations which you can see here. Now this is how a simple survey form which you have created is being used by the reporters who are working in wildlife to record their wildlife observations. Now, I'm going back to my ArcGIS online account and I'm going to use this, the wildlife observations.
I think a few other people also are submitting, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so these are the different observations which we have seen here, and a lot of people have submitted. Okay, I'm going back to my account. So this is our form which we have used. Now, so if you want to analyze and see, you can see the analysis, like how many observations that has been recorded for lion, tiger, cheetah and all, and how many observations or through audio, video and all. So you'll be able to see the information, and you'll be also able to see on which date and at what time the observations have been recorded. That also you'll be able to see. And here I'm going to use this map which I have got here. So I can click directly here. I can work from here as well. Okay. So if you see, this is my application and I want to change this base map. I want to use an image base map. So I'm using an image base map. Okay. So if you want to see the observations that has been recorded, you can see the list of observations. And if you want to change the style, you can change the style. So these are the observations that has been recorded. So I'm just clicking on OK, done. So this is the survey 123 form. From there, I'm going to get the data here. And now I'm going to save this. In a folder, I have already created one folder. I'll show you that folder. So I don't have anything here in wildlife management. So I'm going to save my recording over there. So what is this? We are going to write it as, we're going to write it as wildlife observation reporter map, wildlife. So you can create a tags. So that it will help you to search easily. And you can write a description or a summary for this. And you need to select your folder. And you save your map. So whatever you are recording or there, whatever the observer or the reporter or reporting the wildlife incidents, everything will be shown in this map. Now, if you want to create your recording from here, also you can do that, because that one is used by the people who are there in the field. But you might be knowing that there are some incidents which you know that in this particular forest that there is some animal like which somebody has reported to you, maybe on a call or something. Maybe if they know the location and if they can tell you, you can record that as well. So how you're going to do this is click on edit, and you can select the feature, and you can click on the feature, and it will pop up the same form which we have created, and you can give this details. So at what time, and you can write the notes, and you can just close it. Okay, so we are done here, and I'm just like zooming out. So all your recordings are seen here. Okay, now click on save. So all your data is saved to the content, and now this is being used by the people who are there in the office to see the recordings that are being recorded on the field. So now I want the decision makers to see these observations. Maybe the people who are managing the wildlife, the area managers who wants to prepare some strategy based on the animal findings that they are getting it through this report. They wanted to have some strategy, and they wanted to see the trends of that. So how they are going to see is using some decision dashboard. So we are going to create a decision dashboard now. So initially we created a form for the reporter to report the incidents. Then we created a web map to see the observations on the map. And you can also record the incidents on the map. So this is the third one. And the third one is, now we are going to create a decision dashboard where people are going to see the recordings on the decision dashboard, and the decision makers are going to take strategic decisions based on the dashboard observations. So I want this to be shared with everyone. Okay, and this is the link to the map. If you want to embed in your website or something, you can use it. But now I wanted to prepare a decision dashboard, so I'm going to create a web map, and I'm going to ArcGIS dashboards, and I'm going to create a dashboard for the decision makers or the wildlife officers who are going to take some strategic decisions based on the observations they get. So give some summary, and I'm going to save it in the same folder, and I'm clicking on OK. So these are your observations, and this is how initially my dashboard is going to look like. So I can configure the dashboard. So I'm going to give wildlife observation dashboard. I'm going to give some subtitle, and you can choose the font, color, logo, background image, and everything if you want. I'm just clicking on done, and you can see the title here, which we have added here as a header. Okay, and then I'm going to create a side panel, so it would be on the side. And if you want to write any description for that, you can write a description for it. So I'm going to write the title as wildlife management. If you want to make it a big, and okay, you can give it. And if you want to write a description, you can write a description. Okay, so I just want to click on done. So it is over. Now and I want to see the map legend, so I can have one form. Click on done, and you can see the legend here. And if you want to change anything, just click here and you can change it. Okay. Wildlife observation reporter recordings. Okay. And now if you want to see a pie chart, you can see here. Based on what? Based on the features, if you want to create, based on the animal, if you want to create, you can create, or if you want to see the table, you can see the table here. You can select the chart and you can give it here. So as of now, I wanted to create a gauge. So the number of recordings are here. So I can take the recordings and I can click on here. So these were all the reportings which we have. So this is your map which was actually there. And here, like if you want to have make some bookmarks, if you want the legend, and if you want the list of layers to be visible and non-visible, and if you want a base map, so you can enable all these options and you can click on done. So earlier we don't have these options here. If you see, that is why I've added this map to show you this information. So if you don't want this, you can click on delete. Okay. And so if you want to change, if you want to see the layer, this is the layer from which you're getting this recordings. And when you click here, it will show you the animal, the observation type, and the notes, and at what time it was recorded. Okay. And if you want to change the base map, you can change the base map. Okay. And if you want to change the theme of it, you can change the theme of it. Right. And so if you want to save, you can save the map. And once it is saved, it is visible to the decision makers, like for them to make a decision. And they can use this to prepare their decisions based on the observations they have. So when you click on this, you'll be able to get all the recorded information and you'll be able to see. So let's go back to our content and see like what we have saved here in our wildlife management. So one is our form, survey 123 form, and the second one is, I'll move that also here. So if you see here, initially I have created a wildlife observation form for the reporters to record their observations, and those are being seen by the field people, by the people in the office, and they're making their analysis in the web map. And this is prepared for our decision makers to see like what's happening on the ground and to make some strategic decisions. This is how everybody is going to use GIS in every form, and they're going to take some strategic decisions based on the inputs that they have received from the field. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back and see the other solutions. So if you people have any other questions, you can keep those questions and I'll check those questions. And if you want to see the data here, all the 9 recordings, you'll be able to see all the recordings here once you refresh. So these are all the recordings which we have got now. And if you want to export this as a CSV Excel, you can use this data. And if you want to filter it out by date, you can filter it out by date and you can use this information. So this is how GIS is playing a prominent role in recording wildlife observations and in using that by the office people to understand how the data is being flowing and what kind of wildlife is present and what kind of observations the reports are being submitted, everything they can analyze. And the third one is the decision makers are using the decision dashboard to make a strategic decision. This is how GIS is used in wildlife. There are many other applications also which we can use. So this is one demonstration. The other one is about protection operations, which is the so now we have seen GIS for wildlife conservation. So similarly, you can use the similar methodology which I have used to see the population distribution and to map the habitants and to find out the changes. Everything you can also use the same pattern which I have used to demonstrate the GIS in wildlife conservation. Okay. Now the demonstration is like on how GIS can be used in protection operations, and basically what are these protection operations and where are we going to use this. So protection operations, it can be in wildlife, it can be in law and enforcement, or it can be in rescue operations, or it can be in disaster mitigation measures. We are going to use this protection operations where people wanted to move from one place to other place in case of a disaster, or in production operations, like if you take about uh, let us suppose you take about wildlife, like a lot of people will kill animals and they wanted to make money out of it, right? They wanted to export the leather and they wanted to do business out of it, and which is an illegal activity. So that is also a protection operation in order to track what kind of operations are being held and how you can map that one. So you can use this as well, the applications, and you can use it. So I'll show you an application which was created for production incident reporting. So this is one form, like as you already know, like how to build forms in Survey 123. So this is how you can report. So I have seen poaching. And what kind of poaching have you seen? Like I've seen like animal collection, like a lot of people killing animals, or charcoal, or fishing, illegal fishing activity. So you can record that illegal activity, right? There can be many illegal activities which you have seen, so you can check everything, and how many people have been arrested in that illegal activity, you can write it. And how many people has escaped when there was a raid in tracking this illegal activity. Maybe 2 people have escaped. And what are the weapons that has been captured by the police team or the enforcement team when they have gone to this place. So you can select the weapons which they found and which they have seized, right? And what are the other items that have been seized in that particular right? So you can actually select those things, right? And if you want the photos to be attached, you can click. So you can select the images, right? And you can write the incident type, or you can write notes. And you can record that incident. So I have submitted this production incident report, and now I wanted to see this incident in the similar way, like how we have prepared a web application. So you can see that in the web application here. Let me open and let me share it with you. You can see the observations that we are recording. So I have just submitted this. You can see it here. Just now I have submitted this one. So you can see that particular incident. And if you want to see the photo, the smuggled animal killing photos and all, you can see it here. All the leather was being exported. So if you want to view incident line items, you can go back to your survey 123 form, and it will show you all the list of information like which we have just created. So this is being used by the people who are there on the ground to report the incidents, and this is used by the managers in the office to see the observations that has been recorded at various dates and various times, and to analyze the patterns. And then the people, whoever the decision makers, will use a decision dashboard in order to track the incidents which has been occurred. In order to see the incidents, they'll be using a decision dashboard. So as you have seen, like 3 recordings here. So the the decision makers are also using this decision dashboard to see the status of the incidents that are being recorded, and at what time they were reported, and how at what all places it is being occurring. You can see all this here. Okay, so this is one other application. So you can follow the same kind of pattern which I am telling you to report any kind of incidents, and to enable citizens, whether it can be a person who is reporting an incident, or whether it can be a person who was a decision maker to take decisions, they can simply use these kind of simple applications in order to make use of GIS. And this is one other environmental application in order to protect any kind of illegal activities, either in wildlife, either in crime, or either in fishing. So you can prepare these kind of applications for the various departments, and you can enable them using GIS and empower them in using this GIS to make their decisions. Okay. So this is how we are going to use that one. And the third one is how GIS can be used in agricultural best practices. So how GIS can be used in agriculture is basically there are like various applications which in which GIS can be used in agriculture. One is in the recent times we are hearing a lot about precision farming, like where we'll be assessing the ground and where we'll be preparing various kinds of management zones. If you see here in the image, you can see like a dark green, light green, yellow, red, dark red, and all. What is this all colors? What is it symbolizing? It is showing us the variability in the soil, or the nutrient variability in the soil, by which we are preparing various kinds of management zones, which means like here the nutrients available in this orange color is different from the nutrients uh, the amount of nutrients that is present in the green color, and you can see a lot of variability in the soil. So based on which we will be treating differently, each and every management zone is treated differently using our precision farming in order to optimize our resources, and in order to treat that particular land in a proper way, we'll be using GIS as one of our inputs in order to manage our environment with respect to agriculture. And there are various applications which we are using. One is precision farming, which I told you, like if you want to apply a fertilizer in that particular management zone, you have to know like how much of fertilizer has to be applied in a place where there is more number of nutrients, and you have to know like how much of fertilizer has to be applied in a place where there is less nutrition in the soil. So based on that, based on these management zones, you will get to know how much of nutrition has to be applied at which location. So you can use this application of fertilizers in precision farming in agriculture. Disease control, even you can map the diseases, like what kind of diseases are occurring in these plants and for which kind of crop, and what is the root cause for this. So you'll be able to map all this, and based on that, your decision maker, whoever has to apply that particular fertilizer, will be able to apply the fertilizer based on the management zones that you have detected here, and they'll be able to control the disease that has occurred for the plants. And you can also monitor real-time crop yields. If you want to measure how much of yield is coming from a particular agricultural land, you'll be able to monitor the real-time crop yields also using our GIS. And even like agri-tourism also can be promoted. There are like various applications which we can use GIS in agriculture as well. So I have already crossed my time, so I just don't want to go ahead with this demonstration at this point of time. Maybe some other time in the next tech talks, we'll see like how we can demonstrate this. So if you have any other questions, you're all open to the questions now. You can please unmute and you can put all your questions in the chat window, and I'll be able to answer all your questions. Hi Pavan, can you please elaborate your question, please? I did not understand like what you're asking. The threat of conservation is invasive species, how that can be mapped. Are you there? If anybody have any questions. Um, okay, can you raise your hands? Whoever wants to get unmuted, I can unmute you.
Hi there, Janki ma'am.
Yes, Pawan.
Yeah, I just had a question about invasive species, how that can be mapped. And I normally use ArcGIS desktop to map leopard tracings and all those. So how can that be mapped in the survey form? Invasive species like threat to biodiversity. Yeah.
See, basically, anything which you which you want to create, you need to basically create a form, and you need to know the location of the observation, and then you need to and you should be able to submit that. And as you're talking about invasive species, so we need to see like how it can be mapped. Like basically, you're talking about if you're talking about plants, so a person walking on the road uh, can also report an incident. If you're talking about insects, that can be recorded. If you're talking about fish, the fisherman who is going into the oceans can also record this, right? And if you are talking about fungus, bacteria or something, then even that also can be mapped. But you can the people whoever is going to that particular location should be able to should be knowing how to use that particular application, and they just need to take a photograph, and then they just need to submit it. Now I have demonstrated in survey 123, so you're taking the location information as well, but you can also use some other applications like quick capture and all, where you can just take a photograph and submit it. Even by that
So,
also we'll be able to map the species.
yeah. So is this open and crowdsourced?
It can
The
be
survey one, two,
crowdsourced, or
three.
it can be limited to your organization or to yourself also, because whenever I was sharing that particular application, we have got three options. The
Yeah.
first one option is like to everyone, it is open to public. Like I shared the first application to every one of you, so which is a crowdsourced application. I made it public and it is visible to every one of you. But if I'm creating a certain application just for my organization, maybe a crime in the police department, they create certain applications just for the department, for the law and enforcement. In that case, they will limit that particular application only to that organization itself, and it cannot be seen outside. So it depends on what kind of inputs we want and from whom we want, whether it is a secured application, whether it is not a secured application. Depending on that, we ourselves will enable that option, because the earlier one is wildlife observation, so it is not something like which I can hide it, so that is generic, so I shared it to public. But if I'm working in the enforcement department, I'll not do that, because I will limit it only to my organization.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, you're welcome. So are there any other questions? Pranit, can you enable the option to unmute? Yes, can you please type in the question, please? Hari sir, I can see you raise your hand. Can you please type in the question? Pranit is the host, sir. He has to unmute there. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, you can put it in the chat box. We're just sorting out one technical issue. Just give me a couple. So now after this Tech Talk, we'll be sending you the recorded version of this Tech Talk, and we'll also be sending you a feedback form. We request all the participants to give your valuable feedback so that we'll ensure that we improve on our Tech Talks, and we'll come back to you with the other applications which is which will be used. So now I can unmute. So is there anyone like who wants to speak? I think now you can unmute yourself and you can speak. So in our feedback form, we'll be giving you an option. So we will be asking you like if you have any queries, or if you want any further topics to be proposed in the next Tech Talks, you can also give your topics over there.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Hari, sir, you can speak now. You're unmuted.
So with regard to this survey 123, I wanted to say a few things. One is when you are going to the forest and you are not having connection, what is the situation going to be? You don't have any internet, you don't have connection. What is it going to be?
Yeah, even if you don't have internet connection, even if you don't have any internet connection as well, you can just record your observation, and once you are back and once you have internet connectivity, it gets automatically synced with your application, and whoever is in the office will be able to see your application, and the decision makers also will be able to see the inputs that you have provided. So you need not worry about the connectivity. You just need to do your job. You just need to record your observations.
Well, that is fine. I wanted to say the same thing, but in a more elaborate way, which is understandable to the participants here. So what I want to say is like the Survey 123 comes as an app also.
Yeah.
Download from the Play Store or the iPhone App Store. So once you download that, you install the Survey 123. You can particular application also, the survey which you have created. And then what really happens is like once you fill up, if you are going offline, if your connection is lost and you are going offline, what really happens is the data is stored locally in the local file viewer database. And once you get to a place where the connection is restored, you can sync this particular data back to your RGS online account. Right? And once it is synced, all the data will be available and we can analyze based on that. So Pawan's question about this one, about the crowdsourcing also. This is crowdsourcing because anybody can log in using their, what do you call it, social media account, or they can log in with an anonymous account, or they can log in with an RGS public account, or even an organization account. So all these capabilities are built into the Survey 123. Right? So these are the two things. So crowdsourcing is enabled in Survey 123 and also in other apps which are there in RGS. But Survey 123 can be really used for crowdsourcing. Right? So these are the two things which I wanted to clarify in more detail. Any other questions which need more clarification from anybody? Yeah, so Pawan is saying like, he's saying like, well, for this, GPS coordinates do work without internet. Yes, they do work without internet because Survey 123 map, once you download that particular app which is created in Survey 123, what really happens is the map also goes offline. The area of interest which you have mapped in that particular Survey 123 app is going offline. That means the tiles which come with the base map also get downloaded on your particular mobile. So even if you are going offline, the base map is still available and your coordinates are also being recorded offline. So that is what I can say about this. Okay. Any other question which needs to be clarified? Rangina?
No, sir.
Okay. And with regard to this particular demonstration of the app also, we can demonstrate it in the next tech talk, like the using on a mobile, the administrator on the RGS online, seeing the results. That also is available. Right? We can do that in a later section. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all, and I request everyone to give your feedback, please. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.